Hello and welcome to Wasted Plotential, where we discuss the wasted potential of our favourite plotlines. I recently fell down the rabbit hole that is the second generation of DC superhero girls. It's a huge improvement over the previous generation, which is only fitting given that it's a toyline driven show for girls with little personality, revitalised by Lauren Faust. This version, in addition to being the final incarnation of those awesome Super Best Friends Forever shorts, has Kari Wahlgren in a leading role, as well as the best ever incarnation of Supergirl. It's often held back by the 11-minute episode length, but it's got charm, wit, and a hell of a lot more heart than the previous generation.
She is great!
The worst 20 seconds of my life, and I've been to the Phantom Zone.
Basically, is what the Powerpuff Girls reboot should have been. Again, fitting because Lauren Faust. But today, I'd like to discuss the worst episode of the show so far, the crossover with Teen Titans Go. Yes, that's hardly a surprise, but seeing how this is the first crossover of superhero girls, discounting the time the previous generation got a sneak peek at their Gen 2 counterparts, you'd hope they'd put a bit more effort into it. The crossover is an 11-minute Family Feud episode featuring the two teams where half the characters barely say anything and interactions across the cast is limited. I know both are comedies aimed at a younger audience, but an 11-minute joke quiz show episode that TTG has apparently already done before was not the way to go for the first ever crossover featuring your popular new show where they meet the cast of a long-running, highly successful show that you never stop airing. There is so much potential when crossing over different versions of a universe that are pre-existing and still ongoing. Imagine if we had a real plot and a longer runtime, maybe even 40 minutes like the Superhero Girls opening arc. The only real cross-show dynamic presented is that between Batgirl and Robin. In Superhero Girls, Babs despises Robin because he's a massive twat, so it makes sense that she'd be wary of this version of him. Now, in this episode, Robin has an issue with Batgirl as well, despite her only notable appearances being as Dick's wife in an alternate timeline, and the one where he antagonised the Bat family after deciding to be a villain. Instead, I'd have Barbara hold her issues with her Robin against TTG Robin, antagonising him until he starts to reciprocate. Then, Babs is forced to reevaluate her own attitude as she learns more about his life and sees that he is earnest in his desire to save people. Maybe she even views her own reason for wanting to be Batgirl as shallow, compared to Dick's deeper reasons for idolising Batman, but he tells her there's no such thing as a shallow reason for wanting to help people. They both agree to a fresh slate and work together as heroes. Then Babs decides to try giving her Robin another chance back home, but he's too much of a chode and their relationship remains unchanged for the sake of comedy. On a related note, Starfire starts to realise she has some feelings for Robin and becomes wary of Babs, as Cyborg and Beast Boy can mention the other timeline, which makes Star view Babs as a potential rival. But she can get some proper development if we do like the comics and have Tamaran get destroyed during the special, which Kara can relate to, along with feeling out of place as an alien living on Earth, giving those two a strong bond of kinship. Obviously, Tamaran is later revealed to have been evacuated beforehand to keep the tone light, but only after the pathos is established. Zatanna and Raven can have a bit of a rivalry over their respective magics, but they get over that when Z helps Raven suppress her Trigon powers during a crucial moment. Beast Boy can keep hitting on the girls, particularly Bumblebee, because of the animal theme. She likes it at first because she's not used to that kind of attention, but it gets too much and she gets angry at him. Garfield has to reevaluate how he approaches women, while Karen learns that she needs to speak up for herself before things reach a boiling point and the situation gets worse. 2 lessons for the kiddies for the price of 1. That just leaves Cyborg, Wonder Woman and Green Lantern. Jessica can get along with Beast Boy because they're both vegetarians and have a bit of a rivalry with Victor over their respective abilities to make weapons and tools. Alternatively, she and Karen could actually acknowledge knowing the counterparts of the Titans from their world and should already know that Dick Grayson is Robin as a result, revealing this secret to Babs for the first time. For Diana, I'm thinking she could command quite a bit of respect from the Titans at first, due to them viewing her as being the same as their version of Wonder Woman, but this changes when they see what an uncultured doofus she is, which gets her down for half the episode. Then, during the final fight, the respective counterparts from the opposite universe show up, since we know the Tween Titans exist along with TTG versions of all the superhero girls bar Jessica, which could make for a fun debut for her. But with TTG Diana, a fully accomplished adult version, showing up, she is able to set an example for her SHG counterpart and reassure her that even she isn't always successful, perhaps citing some incidents like the movie or the infamous Bukake scene to inspire her SHG counterpart to keep at it. As for the villain of the special, you'd ideally want a character with a counterpart in both universes. The obvious one would be Deathstroke, who was the villain of Teen Titans Go to the movies and an episode of SHG, but given how big a role he'd so recently had in TTG and his intent to place being a father over his work in SHG, he might not be the best choice. But then there aren't many other villains that appear in both series. There's Lex Luthor, maybe General Zod. Either way, they have some generic evil scheme to merge the universes or whatever that the heroes can make fun of for being so obvious and dumb. After all, the special can't be entirely serious given the shows involved. In the end, both teams say their goodbyes, having learned and grown from this experience, which can continue to affect them in their own shows. As a result, the first ever Superhero Girls crossover could be not just a dumb meme that admits to recycling its own plot, but a real special event that's respectful to both casts, moves their characters forward and opens new possibilities for future stories, and doesn't treat the two shows like complete jokes. I mean, yeah, TTG is a complete joke, hence why everyone prances around like a brain-dead idiot in this episode, but you get the point. Just give the episode some character, you know? Also, just watch Superhero Girls. It's great. If you liked this video, why not subscribe and support me on Patreon like these fine people here? If not, then make sure to share it with your enemies so they can suffer along with you. I'm just gonna link the Superhero Girls shorts here because I've become a total shill for this show. Maybe it's because it's practically the only DC thing being put out that's neither edgy trash nor actual trash? Watch the show, you cowards!